It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
Hold on to your hats. I was right again. But I was also wrong. So what was I right about and what was I wrong about? Well, here's the thing I got correct. I've been preaching for years now that Barack Obama is financing the Islamic State terror group with our tax dollars. Yeah, I know, you don't believe it, but wait till you hear. And how was I wrong? I've held the belief that Democrats are godless, stateless welfare suckers incapable of defending our great country. Guess what? A Democrat has come forth with a bill that blows Obama's terrorist parade to smithereens. However, I won't hold my breath waiting for an apology from everyone who has accused me of being a conspiracy theorist, because I'm sure I'd turn blue and fall out of this chair before a Democrat ever admits that I'm right and they're wrong. So maybe I should buy a new chair. Maybe it'll get us started a revolution here. But here we go again. Yes, we do. Wait till you hear this report. This report will curl your hair, and if you got curly hair, it'll straighten it for sure. A Democrat Congresswoman has introduced a bill called the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. It's a great bill, and we need to pressure Congress to pass it immediately. I only wish that Congress had listened to me and our network of American patriots and passed a bill like this 6 or 7 years ago, because it would have prevented a lot of human misery across the entire planet, and right here in the USA as well, saving at least 500,000 lives and stop cities like Aleppo and Damascus from being turned into piles of rubble. I remember not too many years ago, a radio station manager said that, how could I be so full of hate to claim that the president was funding terrorists? I remember that well. He was a real liberal, a globalist for sure. I'm going to send him a copy of this video and a copy of the bill we're going to talk about. Also, the media will have a tough time calling this stuff fake news or Russian propaganda. That's their du jour problem here, is Russian propaganda. It's like fake news, Russian propaganda. They come up with great words like that, trying to confuse people. Don't listen to them. The confirmation that worldwide CIA operations are being run by Muslim Brotherhood terrorist appointees, courtesy of Obama, comes directly from a Democrat. Yeah. The Muslim Brotherhood is an Islamic supremacist group founded in 1924 in Egypt with the single goal of forcing the entire world to become Muslim. Other groups started out at the same time, you may remember. The Nazis and the fascists and the communists. It's like in the late teens and early 20s of the last century, we had all this craziness going on. Well, the last of the craziness are the Muslims and the communists. So all we got to do is give the coup de grace to the idiotic Muslim man, and we'll be only down to one. Well, here is what Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat with a capital D, introducing her Stop Arming Terrorists Act, said last week on the House floor.
Mr. Speaker, under U.S. law, it is illegal for you or me or any American to provide any type of assistance to Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or other terrorist groups. If we broke this law, we'd be thrown in jail. Yet the U.S. government's been violating this law for years, directly and indirectly supporting allies and partners of groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, with money, weapons, intelligence, and other support in their fight to overthrow the Syrian government. A recent New York Times article confirmed that rebel groups supported by the U.S., quote, have entered into battlefield alliances with the affiliate of Al-Qaeda in Syria, formerly known as al-Nusra. The Wall Street Journal reports that rebel groups are, quote, doubling down on their alliance with Al-Qaeda. This alliance has rendered the phrase moderate rebels meaningless. We must stop this madness. We must stop arming terrorists. I'm introducing the Stop Arming Terrorists Act today to prohibit taxpayer dollars from being used to support terrorists. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The main terrorist group operating in Syria is the Islamic State, sometimes referred to as ISIS or ISIL or Daesh. You know, they're all the same. They all mean Muslim Brotherhood. I don't care what they call them. from one locale to the other. It's like trying to say a socialist is not a communist or a progressive is not a socialist. They're all one big cabal wanting a one world government. Well, the Muslims want to have a one world government run by the Muslims, and the socialists, like most Democrats, want to have the world run by the United Nations. What's the difference? They're just a bunch of loonies. As a bit of background, the Muslim Brotherhood founded both the Islamic State and the Al-Qaeda. Links to all this information, by the way, can be found on our action page today. It's been reported for years that Muslim Brotherhood operatives have had appointments in almost every branch of the federal government since Barack Obama first entered the White House. Now it appears that even the CIA has these terrorists working at top levels. Because, as Tulsi Gabbard points out, the CIA has been illegally arming ISIS for years and getting away with it. Former Secretary of State Crooked Hillary and Obama toppled our allies in Egypt, and the Muslim Brotherhood took over until the Egyptian military deposed them. Obama sent $8 billion, that's with a B like in Bravo, or Benninghoff. He sent $8 billion in cash to the Muslim Brotherhood, your tax dollars. And when I say cash, I mean greenbacks. These bills were put in large aluminum boxes and sent over to Cairo, and then driven from the Cairo airport to the Muslim Brotherhood headquarters in Cairo. And they were driven by the CIA and U.S. military operatives. May their souls rot in hell. And then the Muslim Brotherhood used that cash to behead Christians around Egypt, blow up antiquities in Egypt, and topple the government. When this was discovered by the Egyptian people, the people pushed the Egyptian army into opposing the Muslim Brotherhood and put them all in jail, where many of them are still there, including the former Muslim Brotherhood leader. He's been condemned to death. He's going to be either hanged or have his head cut off, and rightly so, because he's guilty of crimes against humanity. Egyptian prosecutors brought criminal charges up against Obama and Clinton for financing these crimes against humanity. Well, where did that go? Not very far. It was very factually based and could have been proven. But the Egyptian politicians quashed this effort, being fearful of having U.S. foreign aid cut off. Remember this. If you don't remember anything else about this video, Obama and Clinton sent billions in cash to Muslim terrorists, and this was done specifically for the purpose of having Muslim Brotherhood operatives enact a nationwide pogrom in Egypt to behead Egyptian Christians. It's that simple, and that's how vile these people are. That's why I'm so thankful. I pray to God every night, thanking Him for toppling this regime that we had in the United States. And after they got done in Egypt, next, Obama and crooked Hillary toppled Libya. And while Libya was not exactly an ally of America's, its president, Muammar Gaddafi, at least dismantled his chemical weapons program at the request of the Bush administration. He was trying to play it straight. Then crooked Hillary sent in the CIA and the Muslim Brotherhood. You can't make any money off somebody who runs their government for the people of your country. So that's what Muammar Gaddafi was doing. So they had to be overturned, and that's what crooked Hillary and Obama did. And they told the CIA to do it, and the CIA did it. Gaddafi was sodomized on the streets of Libya and killed by Obama-sponsored terrorists. And Libya has never recovered, not since that day. To this day, it's a failed state. Well, that opened the floodgates for the CIA to run guns and bombs and cash into Syria. Egypt, Libya, and Syria all had non-Sunni Muslim form of government. At least if they were Sunni-oriented, they were not paying obedience to the United States. And that's important to remember, because this is all about the power of Obama. Syria was run by a sect of Islam known as the Alawites, and the president of that country to this day, Assad, is an Alawite. Christians under Alawite governments are allowed to live freely and prosper in Alawite nations, unlike in Sunni nations like Saudi Arabia, where we Christians are heavily persecuted. We're not even allowed to have work in some places. We're not even allowed to go into that damn country. So there you go. That's the kind of equality that Obama actually practices at home. Did you know that about 20% of the Syrian army is made up of Christians? They're defending Assad. They're defending the Alawite government. Is something crazy here? Can't you see what's going on? This is a war of religion. On the part of the Democrats, it's a war of their religion. They worship money. On the part of Obama, it's a war, and he worships this Muslim religion. And this is why Obama personally has been toppling non-Sunni governments across the Middle East and Africa. Obama is a jihadi Muslim, and I've been saying this since 2006, and his goal is to wipe out Christianity worldwide. And he's done this by toppling non-Sunni governments. He's been toppling non-Sunni governments so that the Sunnis can take over and behead and persecute all the Christians. Hillary Clinton helped Obama do this because she's a globalist. Christianity is the mortal enemy of globalism, and it's an enemy of the United Nations because we respect national borders. We don't agree with people trying to turn all the countries of the world into unincorporated counties of the United Nations. So crooked Hillary was more than happy to help Obama out and kill Gaddafi, topple Assad. Plus, she got rich by it. You know, it was an audit in the State Department after she left. There's missing $6 billion. Where did that money go? I know where it went. It went into Slick Willie's account someplace. This is also why 99% of all pseudo-refugees being brought in the United States are Sunni Muslims. Absolutely no Christians are allowed into America through the UN Refugee Resettlement Program. And as I pointed out previously, the official policy of the State Department is currently to allow no Christians from Iraq or Syria into the United States. In addition, the Obama administration, through the CIA, was paying a $600 per head recruiting bonus to ISIS for every Muslim fighter that the terrorists could turn into killing Christians in Syria. Plus, they were dropping water bottles in the middle of the desert to ISIS to keep them going. You know what? I bet they were dropping a lot more. This was reported by the New York Times, and that link is also on our action page. Your tax dollars at work, thanks to the Muslim Brotherhood operatives who Obama appointed to the CIA and are now running that agency. Congressman Gabbard is absolutely correct. You know, I've changed my previously bitter belief about the Democrats because of this one bill by Gabbard. There are still a few Americans in the Democrat Party, it seems. An ordinary American would end up in federal prison if they offered any material support of this kind to Al-Qaeda or ISIS, but the CIA has been doing it for years with your money. It's time to stop this and dismantle the CIA and the FBI. Give all the former employees of both agencies loyalty tests and then merge the leftovers into a single America First law enforcement agency. Geez, anybody can be trained to be a spy. There's nothing special about that. It's no difference between breaking up a Mexican drug cartel and stopping an Islamic State conspiracy. This is all movie hyperbole. This is all BS, fake news, if you will, put out by the CIA. They don't walk on water. They're just a bunch of Christian-killing jerks. The Stop Arming Terrorists Act has not been assigned a bill number yet, but we posted all the information about it that's available so far from Representative Gabbard's office. And if you're nervous about supporting a bill from a Democrat, I can understand, but I can assure you that Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, Republican from California, is a co-sponsor of the bill. And I've known Dana for years. There's no finer American on the face of this planet. Mr. Rohrabacher is being strongly considered as the next Secretary of State, and Trump would do very well by choosing this patriot and hero. It's going to get tough to pass this bill, but with your help, it's possible. It's possible, and we can get it done. There's a lot of opposition to this bill from Obama and Clinton and other apologists for the Democrat Party, all of whom are trying to protect their so-called legacy of destroying America. And there's also opposition from the neocons who are always pushing for regime change in Syria, like Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham. In my humble opinion, two very stupid Americans. This bill proves that Obama, crooked Hillary, and the media have been lying to the American people on behalf of Obama for years now. There's nothing more needed to prove this. So we need your help to push this bill through. The CIA executives will continue running guns to ISIS and the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda unless we outlaw it and ban it and dismantle that stupid agency and the FBI and put it into one agency that truly protects us instead of having gunfights between the two agencies and trying to protect one bailiwick from the other. So go to our action page today. Bob Mallory has the instructions for you on the next screen explaining how to get there. Speak out and demand the Stop Arming Terrorists Act be passed. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many, many, many blessings.
Tell Congress to support and pass the Stop Arming Terrorists Act today. If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find a link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.